Hi, Kevin. And my first question to you is, what do you think is special and distinctive about Norwich and Norfolk that gives the region a real advantage for attracting and supporting founders, including the underestimated and underrepresented founders, which you especially champion? What do you think?
Thank you for having me on to answer these interesting questions about Norfolk. So my name's Kevin Withane. I'm the founder of a community called Diversity X, where we support underestimated founders with anything they need, wherever they are, and create opportunities for them to access capital. In addition, I'm also a recovering lawyer, but run a legal consultancy to support startups and SMEs, wherever they are, with legal consultancy services. But to answer your question, what do I think is special and distinctive about Norfolk? So to give some context, I'm based in Suffolk, and I would say particularly around tech and supporting tech entrepreneurs and founders, whether they're underestimated or not, Norfolk and in particular Norwich is a lot better than anything we have in Suffolk. We have nothing in Suffolk. Norwich does attract. It has at least the basis of an ecosystem there. You've got co-working, you've got people setting up, you've got some infrastructure around that, you've got opportunities to access grants. What there isn't enough of, though, I think, are investments and opportunities to access capital within the region. Like there's really one syndicate group there, not super active or as active as it could be. I think there's a lot more opportunity to build the ecosystem around that through education, investor education opportunities, like working with the wealth management companies, the accountancy firms, the law firms in the region to then further support that investment piece. But I think from the other pieces of the puzzle, the ecosystem bits that you need, so you need the space, you need tech support in terms of devs and development houses, and I think there's some good ones there. You need education, there's some good ones there around programs that are available for people in that region, and particularly centered in Norwich, just because it's the capital of that region. I think makes sense. It does it really well. Like when I look to literally across the border to where I am, I don't see any of that, or if it exists, it's very piecemeal. It's not joined up, and there's no joined up thinking. So I think there's a great opportunity there.
Yeah, fabulous. Thank you so much. And you've touched on some of these issues, I think, that are going to come out in this second question, which is, you know, that we have a project report that's a key part of this FinTech cluster project. What would you like to see asked in that report? And what kind of answers do you think are really important for it to kind of tell the story that can then be acted on, Kevin? What do you think?
I think there's an opportunity, and I speak sort of generally for East Anglia, to attract really great founders. We have a lot of space to house them. We have lots of parts of an ecosystem. So what I'd want to see from a project report is how does the region expect to bring all of these players together so that we're not acting as competitors or silos or just doing our own thing, but actually acting as an ecosystem. An ecosystem exists for feeding everybody around it and within it. And I just don't think that's happening right now. And certainly not in the way that our neighbours in London and Cambridge have. And obviously they've got a lot more resource and everything else, but they work together. And I think that's what we need. We need that joined up thinking and moving away from silos or competitors to what are we trying to do? We're trying to build great businesses that continue to prosper in this region, create jobs and opportunities in this region, therefore bringing tax money, productivity, and all those good things that an economy needs back into the region.
Yeah, amazing. And also sort of trailing potentially the way that you would answer the third and final question for this very brief chat, Kevin. So what would you judge to be the attributes of a fintech cluster that would make it of sustained and sustainable value to the communities in the region? What you've just alluded to, actually.
We've got to drop the idea of unicorns. What we need is businesses that are going to be around in 10, 15, 20 years time, not just the 3 to 5 year cycle that many have. That's great, but it's a lot of money burning, right? Like, we're trying out ideas, fine, it doesn't have market fit. But actually what we want to do is help businesses build models that continue to generate income and create opportunities and jobs in the regions in which we're at. So for me, it's move away from the idea of building unicorns and trying to find that unicorn, because it's really, really hard, and even VCs struggle at it. And we see that because a lot of money gets burnt along the way to find the one. What we should be doing is building the many to create jobs. And chances are that when we get good at that, we also get good at finding the one and attracting the one, because you have skilled workers, you have people from that industry, they know what they're talking about, whether it's fintech or ag tech or some other sort of sector. If you build the expertise and the ability to build and scale businesses, not necessarily unicorns, you're going to attract talent.
So that's really interesting. And you already know there's no jeopardy here. I'm completely in agreement with you as well. So in terms of if I'm looking at it from an angel investor perspective, for example, as you do, or if I'm looking at it from a founder perspective, and we imagine a fintech cluster that's built on the lines that you've just talked about, Kevin, what are the characteristics that I would recognize? In other words, how do you know the difference between something that's built on the principles that you've just outlined and is, let's say, the other hand, just attempting to be some kind of unicorn factory? What would you recognize as the differentiating characteristics or attributes? What does it look like, either from your perspective as an investor or from a founder perspective?
I think I'll probably try and answer both, but from an investor perspective, like, my personal thing is I look at the individual, because I'm going in early. And the reality is, I think most of the angels will be early stage, right? They're not your Series A in the region, like, if we're honest, and we should be honest. So we're looking at the early stage. What would you be looking at? Well, you want to know the founder understands the problem and understands the solution. That doesn't have anything to do with the ecosystem or what it's about, the founder themselves. I want to know that the team bit. So can they build a team? Now, that has potentially some ecosystem play or environment play, like, okay, we're based in Norwich and we've got people from Aviva all the time, or I mean, that's InsurTech, but we've got people from banking who are here in the region and they're looking for work, and we can attract them. We've got that ability to build that really strong team with a sufficient level of experience and expertise. So founder, problem, solution, can they build a team? That's like 50%, 50 probably to 60% of my thinking. 40% is on, can you sell me on Basecamp, and is that super attractive? And then, can you show me where you want to get to, the top of the mountain? And if you can take me on the journey of how you think you're going to get there, and that excites me, then I'm super, super interested. And I think most investors are the same, because as much as we want to be objective and say, let's rely on data, the reality is it's a subjective thing to invest. It's about connection and what can we add. And then, given that it is early stage, a lot of investors will want to have their voice heard. Not necessarily they want to play an active part, but they want to be soundboarded. And I think founders' ability to do that sets them apart. And you find that in early questioning of when you have those conversations, like, what sort of questions are they asking? And I'd expect founders to ask a ton of questions, as opposed to, when do you think you can invest? Then from the founder side, flipping it, I would say they need to be, they want to know what can the investor bring. Because if it's just cash play, that's okay. but it will burn, and then you've got somebody sitting on your cap table who's not adding value at the early stages when you're building this business, when you're getting off the ground. You want people who are going to open the doors. So also looking at where have those investors been, like what's their background, what can like Fintech cluster, can they open doors to customers, a potential, can they create the opportunity for a potential acquisition down the line? That's what you want to know, and you need to be focused on it.
Super. Well, Kevin, I wish that we could carry on for a lot longer. Always of interest talking to you, and I haven't met you not that long ago. So fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you.
Pleasure.